Welcome to Life Crisis Today. The Life Crisis Center helps victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and child abuse in Wycomico, Somerset, and Worcester counties. If you need to reach us, you can call 410-749-4357. I'm your host, Lisa Garcia. With me today is Karen Hughes. Karen, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Karen is the domestic violence therapist at the Life Crisis Center, and today we'll be talking about relationships. Karen, can you explain to me what's the difference between a healthy relationship and an unhealthy relationship?
Well, there can be a fine line. And I like to think of it like a continuum. On one end is a healthy relationship, and on the other end is an abusive relationship. And kind of in the middle is dysfunctional. Now, I don't know anybody who's totally 100% healthy. There's always something that you need to work on in a relationship. But there are a very, very severe abusive relationships, but often they fall in the dysfunctional line. And the difference is, there's no definition really, because what I think is dysfunctional, you might think is abusive, or what I think is healthy, you think is dysfunctional. So everybody has a little definition that's a little different as to where it falls along the line of a healthy versus an unhealthy relationship.
Okay, so now that you explained that, when does an unhealthy becomes abusive? Or can a healthy become abusive? Healthy relationship and
Well,
unhealthy
let's talk about
relationship.
healthy first, because every relationship starts in what I call the honeymoon phase. And how do you get to know people? It could be a girlfriend. If you and I were girlfriends, we get to know each other, we hang out together. Or if I get into a romantic relationship, again, I want to be with this person and hang out with them, get to know them. We're spending time together. So everybody starts out in the honeymoon phase. But then if I hang out with people long enough, there might be some tension. We don't agree with everything. We don't get along on everything. I don't believe everything that you believe. And then if we really hang out long enough, we might get angry with each other. We might have a little argument. We may have some blow-ups. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's an abusive relationship. It just means we're arguing. And then usually somebody apologizes and then everything's good again and it goes back into the honeymoon. So you kind of think of it like a great big cycle that can go round and round. And then the difference between a normal, healthy, which I just described, and an abusive relationship is it starts at the beginning. That honeymoon is like it's too good to be true. Now, I know a new relationship feels good, and it does feel like it's a really good thing. But it's over the top good. Oh my gosh, everything's wonderful. I've known this person, and maybe it's only a couple of weeks, and I feel like I've known them forever. We're finishing each other's sentences. Everything's just great, and we're spending all our time together. Yes, we isolate in a new relationship, but this is, oh my gosh, he has to be with me all the time, or I have to be with him all the time. And if we're not together, then we're texting each other, we're talking to each other. If we're not doing that, we're thinking about each other. It's always about the other person. And then little things start to change. You know how if I'm your girlfriend and I'm getting something to drink and I'm like, okay, I'm getting something to drink. You want something? Well, in a romantic relationship, we do that too. Hey, I'm getting something. Let me make you a sandwich or let me get you something to drink. That happens. But this is more of, hey, why aren't you getting my drink? Oh, I didn't know you were thirsty. Well, what about some food? Aren't we going to get something to eat? You need to make me something. I didn't know. Maybe I'm busy doing something. And the demands. I'm being demanded to do things. So the tension starts. And I feel like I'm doing things wrong. And I don't know why I'm doing them wrong, but I just know I'm wrong. And I feel like I'm walking on eggshells with them. And then so as the tension builds, and is this a normal tension or is this an abusive tension? The difference is I'm wrong in some way. I'm not doing something right. I can't figure it out, but that's what's happening. And then maybe little arguments are starting to happen, the battering stage of blowing up with each other. And again, the blow-ups, even if I have a wrong opinion, now I'm allowed my opinion, but according to an abusive relationship, I'm not allowed an opinion. Well, that can create, you're stupid, you're this, you're that, and putting me down and degrading me. And that becomes more of a verbal battering. And then it goes back when it moves into the honeymoon stage again, because yeah, he might apologize, but it's more like he knows he has to apologize because he has to make it right. And again, the apology is over the top. It's too much. It's candy and flowers and taking me out to dinner and giving me gifts. And if we're intimate with each other, that make-up time to make it all up. He never takes real ownership of what he did wrong, but he just wants to make it right for me. And I think that's the difference. In a healthy, safe person would be, oh, I'm sorry, I can't believe I did that. I really am going to try really hard not to do that again. He might say, I'll never do that again, but really not. He's going to do it again. He's going to do it again, over and over and over again.
Like you said, he will not take responsibility or ownership of that, so he will not say, I'm sorry.
It's never his fault for anything. Yeah.
Okay. So now that you explain abusive relationships and healthy and unhealthy, how do we prevent this? Is there a way to prevent it? Are there any red flags that I could look for, or I could tell people to look for, our viewers?
I usually think about, if I'm getting in this new relationship, what am I looking for in this person? So is he a blamer? That accountability, never taking responsibility for himself, always blaming other people for their problems, and the world doesn't understand me, my boss doesn't understand me, nobody understands me, my last girlfriend or wife didn't understand me, everybody else's fault for things. Or he resents everything, that attitude, everything is just resentful. Or he's entitled, the world owes me. And so he has that attitude of everything needs to be given to him, like getting me the drink, that he wants a drink and he's entitled to it. You should know that he needs this and take care of it. Or he's better than everybody else. And he's wonderful, and he presents himself as that at the beginning. He's a great guy. And I think he's a great guy, but he's like over the top great guy. Everything's good for him until things don't work out. Or there's little irritations. Everything's like really petty, like making a mountain out of a molehill. It's like this little tiny problem. It's, oh my gosh, it's over the top. And everything's a big deal to him, where really it's a really petty little thing. Okay, the world is pretty sarcastic, We get to, I don't know, we always have to have a comeback for everything. But this is that bite in the sarcasm. It's not just sarcastic, it's the bite to it. Well, if he's going to do the bite to other people, it's usually going to be turned back to me. Because kind of like even in blame, there's like a law of blame or a law of things where he's going to be the worst to the person he's closest to. Well, if I'm in this relationship, then I'm the person that he's going to be closest to. So the sarcasm comes back to me, the blame comes back to me, the resentment comes back to me. Or deceit. He lies. Now, when we're first meeting somebody, we don't always tell all the truth because we want to be presented like I'm this great person and I want you to get to know me. But this is, that might be called like an unintentional deceit, but this is more intentional things. And then he turns it around like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're remembering wrong. And then again, I start doubting myself. Is this real? Do I remember doing that? But it's really his lies. But then he starts accusing me of lying. Again, turning it around, making it me. I'm to be blamed. And he's doing all this because he's so jealous. He's going to protect me from the world. I think that's what's going to happen at the beginning. But then he's just jealous. And so I can't do anything right. I can't look at anybody. I can't talk to anybody. Even my own family members, my mom or my sister or my father, my brother, anybody, cousin. Doesn't matter. He's jealous because I'm taking time away from him. If we're riding together in the car and I happen to look out the window and there happens to be a guy in the next, I must be wanting him or doing him or knowing him or something. It's because he's so jealous about things. So I can't talk to anybody. And I said kind of even at the beginning, remember I said when you're getting into this relationship, rushes into it.
Yes.
He's a rusher, or the relationship's rushing. So that could be another one of those red flags of looking for things that this might not be a great person to be with.
A lot of red flags and a lot to think about
Yeah.
and pay attention when you're getting into a new relationship. But how about if you're already in a relationship? How do you know if you're in an abusive relationship? Maybe some of these red flags will apply, but maybe some of them will not.
Right.
How do you know if this relationship is an abusive relationship?
I said it already. One of the things is, am I walking on eggshells? You know, if I'm feeling like I have to be careful around, say you're my abuser, around you, is that the safe person I want to be with? Or is this, you know, it could possibly be an abuser. Okay, I'm pausing for a second.
That's the question you wanted me to ask
Yeah, I
you.
know.
And
I'm
that's
trying to
what I was
remember
like,
all these things. That's what I'm
okay.
trying to do.
Will we be in a slide?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it okay if I look down if I'm going to be
Yeah.
on the slide? Okay. Does your partner hurt you with bad names and put downs? Always putting me down, like I'm never right. If I'm never right, I'm never going to do anything right. And it's like the rules keep getting changed all the time. So therefore I am stupid and I am dumb, but I don't know what the rules are because he's changed them already. And so therefore all the name calling. Or intimidating me, you know, with a look. You know, the look. Now, you've been a child. You know that look. This is the abuser, a partner who's supposed to be my equal, giving me that look. That is a possibility of an abuser. Now, it's different than, okay, if I'm with my partner and he's telling a really stupid story again at a party and I kind of like going, that's a different look than you are in trouble. So that's a difference in that. Again, with isolation, keeping me from family and friends. Either having to be with me all the time, which at the beginning sounds romantic, and wanting to be with me all the time, but this is I'm not allowed to go anywhere without him. And if I do go, oh my gosh, I know I'm going to have to pay for it when I get back. Or it could be following me, spying on me, checking my cell phone, checking my mileage, putting GPS on me, and, you know, location finder on my phone.
Without you knowing.
Without my knowing it, yeah. So that's something that we look at when we're talking about, asked about safety, as to how to make sure to stay safe, is how to look at how he might be finding you. Because if he's just showing up when you didn't tell him you're going to be at a certain store and all of a sudden he's there, how does he know you're there? Is he accusing you of having affairs? Like I said, looking out that window, that you're doing the guy in the next car over, or you're looking out at a neighbor out the window. Oh, I had one. Actually, I've had a few clients tell me I don't even know what color hair they have. I just know they're a blob in their driveway. But according to the abuser, I'm doing them. So that always accusing of affairs, destroying of property. And it's usually not his property. It's usually my property, because they're not going to destroy their things. And then the physical things: shoving, hitting, slapping, punching, choking, any kind of physical. Obviously, that is an abusive relationship.
Okay, so if someone's going through any of those things, what can they do? Now that maybe they thought about, maybe it could be abusive, maybe not. Maybe he was just angry, or maybe she was just angry at that moment. So now that they heard all this, our viewers have heard all this, what can they do?
First of all, trust your gut. I know that he has tried to make you not feel like your intuition and your thoughts and your opinions are right, and that you know what to think, but trust it. That's the first thing. Also, start reaching out. You know, he may have isolated you. You may have burnt some bridges, and you may have to build some bridges. But you may need to do that so that you've got your network of people who might be able to help you. There's also other people outside of your network. You can call the hotline or the Life Crisis Center. If you need to go because he has gotten and you're fearful for your safety and you feel like you might need a protective order, you can always go to the commissioner's office. And if you're not sure what to do with that, our hotline can help you with the steps. And we do have advocates who can help in making those arrangements to get the protective orders. But reaching out and first trusting yourself, staying safe. If you need to put a safety plan together, think of it like a fire drill. What would you do in a fire drill in your house? And how would you get out? And where would you go? And what do you need to pack? What do you need to put together for yourself and your kids? What documents do you need? Who is your network and how are you going to use them? Put, in your car, spare cell phone if you need to. Make sure you stay safe.
Okay, so what will you tell our viewers who their family members might be in an abusive relationship, that they see it, they see those red flags, they see that abuse, they see that isolation, but the victim, either he or she is in denial or are afraid to ask for help? What will you tell them?
Keep reaching out. I'm worried for you. I know you think he's a great guy, but I am worried about you. Give me a call if you need to. Do you have the hotline phone number? Give them the hotline phone number. Do you want to pack some things and keep them here so that if you needed to, you would know you'd have some stuff? Just periodically, not badgering, because then they will dig in and say, no, everything's fine, I'm okay. But just reaching out. I call it planting of seeds. And if you keep planting enough seeds, eventually, hopefully, one will germinate and then begin to grow. And then they'll reach out and reach out to you.
So always keeping that door open.
Always.
So, can you give us any resources? Do you have any resources for our viewers?
Well, I've said about our hotline. We'll
yes,
go over
I know you said our hotline.
I have another slide, just to let you know.
So let's do that again. Okay. Do you want me to ask a question or do you...
Let me take a sip first.
Okay. I don't remember what the question was. Well,
resources.
Like how, yeah, but I didn't do it like it was here. I just... Okay. Karen, do you have any resources for our viewers? Where can they go to get more information?
Well, our hotline, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I do have other resources for other organizations that if they don't feel comfortable, like they don't feel like they can call and they want to look up online. Because I know a lot of people, it's easier to just look up on your phone, and our smartphones are great these days. Maryland has a Maryland Network Against Domestic Violence. And that has a lot of resources. And the Life Crisis Center is listed. If you're not from the Salisbury area or the Worcester, Wacomico, Somerset counties, there are other facilities around the state. So the Maryland Network is for the entire state of Maryland. So they've got resources for the entire state. Another one is called the National Center for Victims of Crime. And they have a stalking resource center. If you feel like you're being stalked, there are things that you can do to keep track of that and keep logs so that you have proof of things, because that's hard to prove. But if there are incidents or just shows up at a certain time and it's always the same time every week or every day or something like that, and because we're creatures of habit. So if you're feeling like you're being stalked, that's another resource for you. The One Love Foundation has lots of different information. They have videos and they have information to look at, is this domestic violence, and how to get help with getting out. You asked about getting out, how to put a safety plan together. And then another one for teens is called Love is Respect. And that has great things for the teens to look up, and they have some quizzes in there for the teens. Teens like to do those kinds of things. So it helps them to understand, and that's the One Love Foundation.
Okay, thank you. So if someone needs to talk, they need to call us. I know you said you were going to talk to us about our hotline. Right. So if someone needs to reach out, where can they call? Who can they call? Who can they talk to?
Well, our hotline is available 24 hours a day, so somebody's always available. And that number is 410-749-HELP. And so you don't have to look it up. It's 410-749-4357. And yeah, they're great. They're there just to talk. They're there to look up resources. We are part of the 211 system for the state of Maryland. So we have a huge database for the entire state of Maryland. And they also can connect with if a person needs help with getting a protective order and through our advocacy program or our legal department, or finding me if they want therapy, or even therapy for the kids. We do have therapists who do that kind of work. So we have lots of different things that can be helpful, and the hotline is like our hub that will get all that information to them.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all this information, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now I'm going to read.
You're not supposed to read now. I'm going to read.
No, I was telling you.
Okay.
Do we need to change anything, do anything?
No, you got your ending of it.
Yeah, it's coming.
Wait a minute.
Slow. I'm hungry. That was loud. Sorry, I added that question in
That's
there.
okay.
I was like, oh, we didn't say anything about this.
That's okay. I can do it.
But I just, I knew you could do it. But I was just thinking about that mom that called.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Remember, if you need to contact the Life Crisis Center, you can call the hotline at 410-749-4357. The hotline is available 24 hours a day. You can also visit our website at www.lifecrisiscenter.org. Thank you, PAC 14, for making this show possible, and thank you for watching. Have a nice day.